Have you ever watched a woman swear on her own life that she is telling the truth, while you hold the absolute, undeniable proof that she is lying right to your face? She looks you right in the eyes. The tears are falling heavily down her cheeks. Her voice is shaking. She tells you it was a one-time thing. She promises, she begs, she swears to a higher power that if you just give her one more chance, she will never, ever break your trust again. You look at the woman you love, and you want to believe her. Your heart desperately wants to trust those crying words. But deep down in your gut, an alarm bell is ringing, warning you that you are walking straight into a trap. Today, we are going to listen to that alarm. We are going to expose the brutal, uncomfortable truth about the second chance. If you take her back after she stepped out on your loyalty, you are not saving your relationship. You are just handing her a loaded gun so she can shoot you again. I am going to give you the 5 deep, psychological reasons why a woman who breaks your trust once will absolutely do it again, no matter how many tears she cries or how many promises she makes to your face. Let us dive right into the very first reason. It is all about the invisible price tag of your forgiveness. When a woman crosses the ultimate line of loyalty, she expects a massive explosion. She expects you to pack her bags, throw her out into the cold, and never speak to her again. That is the natural, adult consequence of betrayal. But when you sit her down, wipe away her tears, and say the words, "I forgive you," you completely shock her internal system. You think you are showing her unconditional love. You truly believe you are being a strong, forgiving, patient man. But her primal brain does not translate your forgiveness like that. In her mind, she just learned that the absolute worst crime she can commit against you has an incredibly cheap price tag. The total cost of her betrayal is just a few hours of crying, a long dramatic apology, and maybe a week of acting like a perfectly good girlfriend. That is it. You just showed her with your own actions that she can completely destroy your heart, and she still gets to keep her comfortable life inside your house. Let me tell you a real story about a man who bought this exact lie. This is a story about a man who lost his entire life because he believed a fake promise. We will call him John. John was a genuinely good, hard-working guy. He worked heavy night shifts at a warehouse just to pay for a nice apartment for him and his girlfriend, Megan. One morning, John came home early because he was feeling sick. He walked through his own front door and found Megan completely betraying him with a guy from her gym. The fallout was massive. Megan cried for 3 days straight. She stopped eating food. She wrote John a 10-page letter about how much she hated herself. She swore it was a stupid, meaningless mistake because she was feeling lonely at night while he worked. She promised she would delete all her social media, block everyone, and never go to that gym again. John was physically exhausted and emotionally broken, but his soft heart loved her. So he did the exact thing society tells nice men to do. He forgave her. He believed the promise. For the first few months, Megan was an absolute angel. But exactly 1 year later, John noticed she was taking her phone into the bathroom again. He checked the phone records. She was calling a completely different man every single night the second John left for his warehouse shift. When John confronted her this second time, the dynamic was completely different. There were no tears. There were no long letters. She just looked at him with cold, empty eyes and said, "Well, you easily forgave me last time, so I figured you did not really care about yourself that much anyway." John lost his apartment, his savings, and 2 years of his precious life. He is the ultimate loser in this dynamic because he thought a verbal promise could magically change a person's deep character. He thought his generous forgiveness would cure her toxic behavior. But all it actually did was teach her how to be a much better, much quieter liar. She did not respect him the first time, and she respected him even less the second time because he proved he would not defend his own boundaries. This brings us directly to the second psychological reason she will do it again. It is all about brain chemistry. It is about the powerful addiction to the thrill. Most men think a betrayal is about the other guy. You sit there driving yourself crazy, thinking the other man must have more money, or a better car, or bigger muscles than you. That is almost never the truth. It is very rarely about the other man. It is all about the secret. When a woman starts sneaking around behind a good man's back, her brain gets flooded with dopamine. Dopamine is a brain chemical that makes you feel a massive, overwhelming rush of pleasure. It is the exact same chemical that makes people hopelessly addicted to gambling or bad substances. The thrill of sending a secret text message, the rush of quickly hiding the phone when you walk into the room, the intense excitement of almost getting caught. It creates a toxic high that a normal, peaceful, everyday relationship simply cannot compete with. When you catch her, and you forgive her, that chemical addiction does not just magically disappear from her brain. She might stop sneaking around for a little while out of pure panic. But eventually, the fear fades away. The relationship goes back to a normal routine. The house gets quiet, and her brain starts desperately craving that massive dopamine rush again. She starts missing the extreme thrill of the secret life. She will eventually tell you she is feeling bored. But she is not bored with you. She is going through physical withdrawals from the toxic high of sneaking around. And because you already proved to her that you will not leave her when you catch her, the risk is much lower this time. She thinks to herself, "I survived getting caught once. I know exactly how to cry and play him now. I just have to be a little bit smarter this time." You cannot love an addiction out of a person. You cannot cure her deep need for toxic drama by being a nice, calm, stable provider. Your stability actually pushes her back toward the chaos, because chaos is her actual drug of choice. Let us move into the third deep reason why her crying promise means absolutely nothing. This is the hardest truth for a loyal man to swallow. It is the dark reality of the victim mindset. When a woman steps out on a loyal, providing man, her brain goes into a state of intense panic. Deep down in her soul, she knows she is the villain of the story. But nobody wants to be the evil villain in their own life. The human brain cannot handle that much heavy guilt. So, her brain creates a completely fake, alternate reality to protect her fragile ego. She starts actively rewriting your entire history together. She starts magnifying every tiny, normal mistake you ever made. She convinces herself that you were emotionally distant. She tells herself that you worked too much and ignored her. She decides that you did not make her feel special anymore. She creates a twisted, fictional story where your totally normal flaws literally forced her into the arms of another man. When she is crying on the floor and promising to never do it again, she might sound like she is taking responsibility. But in the back of her mind, in the dark corners of her thoughts, she secretly still blames you. She actually believes that her betrayal was partially your fault. And if she believes it was your fault the first time, she will absolutely use that exact same excuse to do it a second time. The moment you get busy at work again, the moment you accidentally forget an anniversary, the moment you two have a normal, everyday argument about the bills, she will use that conflict as her golden ticket. She will tell herself, "He is neglecting me again. He is yelling at me. I deserve to feel loved and appreciated. I have absolutely no choice but to find comfort somewhere else." She has built a permanent, invisible escape hatch in her mind. And as long as she secretly blames you for her own lack of morals, she will always feel totally justified in breaking your trust whenever she feels slightly unhappy with her life. I want to tell you a story about a man who saw this exact trap forming and chose to completely win. We will call him Marcus. Marcus had been with his girlfriend for 3 years. He was a very sharp, very observant man who trusted his gut. One evening, he caught her in a massive, undeniable lie. She had gone to a hotel with a guy from her past. When Marcus laid the solid evidence on the kitchen table, she immediately tried to use the victim strategy. She cried heavy tears, but her apology was completely poisoned. She said, "I am so sorry, Marcus. I never ever wanted to hurt you. But you have been so focused on your business lately. We never talk anymore. I just felt so completely alone in this house, and he just happened to listen to my problems." Marcus did not get angry. He did not yell. He did not punch the table. He listened to her entire pathetic excuse in total silence. He looked at her and saw exactly what she was trying to do. She was trying to hand him 50% of the blame for her own dirty actions. Marcus stood up slowly. He looked her dead in the eye with completely cold, flat, unbothered energy. He said, "My intense focus on my business provides the roof over your head and the food on your plate. It does not give you a free pass to disrespect my loyalty. You are not a victim here. You made a long series of calculated choices to betray me. I am not accepting one single drop of blame for your lack of character." He calmly told her to pack her things and leave his house immediately. She panicked. She begged him to reconsider. She promised she would go to therapy. She swore she would never do it again. She said she finally realized how wrong she was. Marcus did not budge a single inch. He just pointed at the door and said, "Your promises are just as empty as your loyalty. The door is right behind you." Marcus won the ultimate game. He suffered the heavy pain of a sudden breakup, but he kept his absolute, unbreakable dignity. He did not allow a toxic woman to rewrite his reality. He knew that if he accepted even 1% of the blame, she would use it against him as a weapon for the rest of his life. By cutting her off completely and instantly, he saved himself from a lifetime of anxiety and guaranteed future betrayals. He is now married to a woman who perfectly matches his loyalty, all because he proved to the universe he was strong enough to throw out the garbage without hesitation. We are going to go even deeper into the psychology. In the next part, we will uncover the final 2 reasons why her promise is a total illusion. We will talk about the dangerous difference between how men and women view respect, and how to protect your mind when she starts swearing on her life that she has completely changed. Do not let your soft heart make a decision that will destroy your masculine future forever. We are picking up exactly where we left off. You now understand the cheap price tag of your forgiveness. You know about the toxic chemical addiction in her brain. You know exactly how she twists reality to make herself the victim. But now, we are entering the absolute deepest, darkest part of female psychology. We are going to talk about the 4th massive reason she will do it again. It is all about the total destruction of biological respect. Men and women view respect in 2 completely different ways. As a man, you respect loyalty. You respect forgiveness. You think that by taking her back, by showing her mercy when she is crying on the floor, you are proving how strong your love is. You think she will look at your forgiveness and say, "Wow, he is such an incredible, powerful man for giving me a second chance. I will never disrespect him again." That is a complete, total fantasy. Her biological brain does not process your mercy as strength. It processes your mercy as absolute weakness. Deep down in a woman's primal DNA, she is wired to seek out the strongest possible protector. She needs to know that the man she is with has a spine made of solid steel. When she crosses the ultimate line, when she gives her loyalty to another man, she is dropping a massive bomb on your castle. If you do not throw her out of the castle, if you just sweep up the broken pieces and tell her it is okay, she learns a terrifying truth about you. She looks at you and thinks, if he does not even have the strength to kick me out after I completely destroyed his manhood, he must have absolutely no other options in life. He must be too scared to be alone. If he cannot even protect himself from me, how is he ever going to protect me from the real dangers of the world? The exact second you forgive a betrayal, her romantic, burning attraction for you dies permanently. It is gone forever. You cannot talk it back into existence. You cannot buy it back with expensive gifts. You cannot win it back by taking her on nice vacations. She might stay in your house because it is comfortable. She might stay because you pay the rent. But she will look at you the exact same way a mother looks at a weak, helpless child. She will resent you for being so easy to manipulate. And because she no longer respects you as a strong, dangerous man, she will inevitably start looking for a man who she actually fears losing. She will cheat again, not because she hates you, but because you proved to her that your boundaries are completely fake. You proved that you are a doormat. And nobody respects a doormat. They just wipe their dirty shoes on it and keep walking. Let us look at a real-life story of a man who learned this the hardest way possible. This is the story of a man who gave a second chance and paid for it with his entire soul. We will call him Kevin. Kevin was deeply in love with a woman named Sarah. They had been living together for 4 years. One night, Kevin found secret messages on her tablet. She had been seeing a coworker for 3 months. When Kevin confronted her, Sarah played the ultimate crying game. She fell to her knees. She swore on her mother's life that it was a terrible mistake. She said the other guy meant absolutely nothing to her. She promised to quit her job the very next day. She promised to hand over all her passwords. Kevin was a soft-hearted guy. He was terrified of being alone in that big apartment. He did not want to start dating all over again. So, he looked at her tears, and he said the deadly words, "I forgive you. We will work through this." Sarah did exactly what she promised. She quit her job. She gave him her passwords. For the first 6 months, Kevin thought he had won. He thought his forgiveness had saved the relationship. But then, the energy slowly started to change. Sarah stopped being sweet. She started talking down to Kevin. She would roll her eyes when he spoke. She stopped dressing up for him. The bedroom went completely cold and silent. She treated Kevin like an annoying roommate who was just in her way. Kevin was completely confused. He had forgiven her. He had paid all the bills while she looked for a new job. Why was she treating him like garbage? Exactly 1 year after the first betrayal, Kevin came home early and found the door locked. When he finally got inside, he found Sarah packing her bags. She looked at him with zero emotion. She did not cry this time. She said, "I am leaving you. I met someone else. To be honest, Kevin, I lost all respect for you the day you took me back. You are just too weak for me. I need a real man." She walked out the door and never looked back. Kevin was absolutely destroyed. He lost his dignity the first time, and he lost his mind the second time. He gave her a second chance, and she used that second chance to completely break his spirit. Kevin is the ultimate loser in this dynamic because he refused to accept the cold, hard biological truth. A woman can never, ever love a man she does not respect. And she cannot respect a man who values her presence more than his own dignity. This brings us to the fifth and final reason why her promises are completely empty. This is the ultimate reality check for any man who is currently sitting on the fence, wondering if he should give her one more try. The fifth reason is the fatal character flaw. You have to completely erase the word mistake from your vocabulary. Forgetting to buy milk at the grocery store is a mistake. Tripping on a rock and scraping your knee is an accident. Betrayal is never, ever an accident. Betrayal is a highly calculated, long series of selfish choices. Think about the simple math of what she had to do to break your trust. She had to decide to give that man her number. She had to decide to text him back in the morning. She had to decide to turn her phone screen away from you when you walked into the room. She had to decide to get dressed up and put on makeup. She had to decide to get in her car and drive to a secret location. She had to look another man in the eyes and make the final, ultimate choice to give him her body. At any single point during those 100 different steps, she could have thought about your face. She could have thought about how hard you work for her. She could have thought about the pain she was going to cause you. She could have turned her car around and gone back home. She did not turn around. She walked all the way to the absolute end of the road. That is not a mistake. That is a deep, fundamental flaw in her core character. It shows a complete lack of impulse control. It shows a total disregard for the feelings of others. It shows that she is deeply selfish and willing to destroy your entire life just to get a temporary thrill for herself. A character flaw like that does not magically disappear just because she gets caught and cries a few tears. It does not vanish because she promises to be better. Character is built over decades. If her character is broken enough to betray a loyal man, it is broken permanently. You cannot fix her. You are a man, not a rehabilitation center for broken women. When she promises that she has changed, she is only promising to change her strategy, not her character. She is promising to be more careful. She is promising to hide her tracks better next time. You have to look at the absolute reality of what your life will become if you choose to stay. If you forgive her, you are signing a legal contract to become a full-time prison warden. You will spend the rest of your natural life looking over your shoulder. Every time her phone buzzes on the kitchen table, your stomach will drop to the floor. Every time she is 10 minutes late coming home from work, your heart will start racing. You will lie awake at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she is telling you the truth. You will completely lose your peace of mind. And a man without peace of mind cannot conquer the world. He cannot build a business. He cannot get strong in the gym. He becomes a nervous, anxious, paranoid shadow of his former self. Let us look at a true winner. Let us look at a man who saw the exact same tears, heard the exact same promises, and chose his own life instead. We will call him David. David was engaged to a beautiful woman. The wedding was planned. The invitations were already sent out to hundreds of people. Just 2 months before the wedding, David found out she had crossed a major boundary with a guy she met at a bachelorette party. When David confronted her, she played every single card in the deck. She cried until she threw up. She blamed the alcohol. She said she was just nervous about the wedding. She begged him on her hands and knees not to cancel the big day because of the massive embarrassment it would cause her family. She swore on her life that it meant nothing and she would be the perfect wife forever. David loved her deeply. His heart wanted to forgive her. The thought of calling all his friends and family to cancel the wedding was absolutely terrifying. The embarrassment was going to be massive. But David knew his actual value as a man. He knew the simple truth. If she can betray me during the absolute happiest time of our relationship, what is she going to do when things get hard? What is she going to do when we have financial problems, or sick children, or stressful jobs? David did not yell. He did not scream. He simply walked into the bedroom, packed her things in empty boxes, and handed her the engagement ring back. He looked her dead in the eye, with absolutely zero emotion, and said, "Your promises mean nothing to me because your actions already spoke the truth. I wish you the best in your life, but you do not get to be my wife." It was the hardest, most painful thing David ever had to do. He faced the embarrassment. He made the painful phone calls to his family. He lost a lot of money on the wedding venue. He spent an entire year sitting alone in a quiet house, focusing entirely on his career and rebuilding his mind. 5 years later, David is completely at peace. He is married to a highly loyal woman who honors his boundaries. He looks back at that broken engagement not as a tragedy, but as the exact moment he truly became a strong man. He saved himself from a lifetime of anxiety and an eventual, messy divorce, because he chose short-term pain over long-term suffering. He proved to himself that he loved his dignity much more than he feared being alone. You have to be willing to walk through the fire. You have to be willing to face the temporary pain of a breakup to protect the permanent peace of your future. When she cries, you must become a statue of solid ice. You do not comfort her. You do not hand her a tissue. You look at her, you state your final decision, and you walk away. Do not let your empathy become a weapon used against you. Do not let your nice guy programming turn you into a lifelong victim. Brothers, if you're watching right now, I need a small favor. My ex said I wouldn't even reach 100K subscribers. She laughed right in my face and told me that men today are too weak and too desperate to ever walk away from a cheating woman. I need you to help me prove her completely wrong. Please hit subscribe, drop a like, and leave a comment right now. Let's show her what men can do when we wake up, stand together, and absolutely refuse to accept disrespect. I want you to think very deeply about your own boundaries today. I want you to go down to the comment section and answer this smart question with brutal honesty. What is the biggest, most unbelievable lie a woman ever told you to try and cover up her tracks after she got caught? Did she say he was just a cousin you never met? Did she claim her phone got hacked by a stranger? Write her exact excuse down in the comments. Let us expose these ridiculous lies so that the other men reading can learn from your experience and spot the exact same traps in their own lives. Keep your head up. Keep your vision completely clear. Do not ever negotiate your dignity, and never, ever believe a promise from a person who already proved they do not value your loyalty. Stay strong.